Hey everybody, how's everybody doing this afternoon? Today is normally my day off, but I had a rough to do this morning, and I had to send out a transcript. So I was doing training last night, and when I was trying to explain something to someone that I was training, something hit me, and I said I need to talk about this. So I'm going to try to keep it short and sweet. Hi Barb. I'm going to try to keep it short and sweet, but I want to break down a challenge that scopists have when they are editing a reporter's transcript in the way that they drop. Specifically, we're just talking about how they drop. So, in the business, we have a term called clean dropping, which means, hi Karen, hi Joyce. The clean dropping basically means that if there are 4 sentences that can be heard clearly on the audio, that maybe only 3 are there. The second one is not there, and so you have to type that full sentence. So I'm going to give an example now, okay? So the example is, my name is Rachel. I live in South Carolina, USA. I'm a scopist and a proofreader. I've been working for 7 years. Okay, so those are the 4 sentences. First one is my name, second one is where I live, third is what I do, and 4 is how long I've been doing it. So a clean dropper may have all those sentences except the one that says, I live in South Carolina, USA. Now, that is the easiest, in my opinion, type of error or type of dropping that is the easiest to fix, because I can clearly hear there's a string of words that aren't there. There's sentences, all the other sentences are there, and I can clearly see that it belongs in between the first sentence and the third sentence, and I can type that in. And that is one of the easier types of drops to catch. The harder types, in my opinion, are 2. The first one is the reporter who paraphrases in their writing. So let's take that sentence that says, I live in South Carolina, USA. When you're saying I live in South Carolina, USA, the reporter may be anticipating what, if I'm the witness, I'm saying and try to paraphrase so that they can stay on top or right behind what I'm saying. So they might say or type, I reside in South Carolina, USA. They might type, South Carolina, USA is where I live. South Carolina, United States of America is my home. There may be several different variations of the meaning behind what I'm saying, but they're not typing the words that I actually said. So as the scopist, when I go to edit that presents a challenge over time if the reporter is consistently making that type of mistake when they drop, or they have that writing style. And if they have that writing style, it's definitely pervasive through the whole transcript. And so I say when I'm doing my training that scoping a paraphrased or a summary of what the person said by not using the actual words that they said is kind of like playing double dutch with the sentence. You don't know where to jump in. Do I go in here and change this word? Do I go in here and change that word? And when I say in here, I mean in between 2 words that are actually accurate that the witness said. So I'm listening. So that's one step that my mind is doing. I'm listening to what the witness said, reading what the reporter wrote, evaluating if those 2 things match. Once I discover that they don't match, then I'm trying to, because, let me pause here. As a scopist, one of our main criticisms that we get is removing steno or removing notes that the reporter typed. And so I try my best to not remove anything that's relevant that the reporter typed. So let's say they got South Carolina right. That translated, that's correct. I said that. So now I'm trying to figure out, do I need to type before South Carolina or after that? Now I know that when I say trying to figure out, I mean that is a process that my brain is doing at the time that I'm looking at it. Can I figure that out? Absolutely. Do I know that? Absolutely. But the time that it takes and kind of the brain muscles that you're using to evaluate that is something that can contribute to you as the scopist becoming overly tired and putting in the wrong words, removing steno that's not necessary, adding things that weren't said because you're doing that process over and over and over again. So that's the first type of dropping that I find to be rather complicated, or over time can contribute to me having a weaker transcript and me not being able to do my job as strong as I'd like. The second type of dropping is where the reporter is dropping words within that sentence, and now you're trying to put them in. So let's take that sentence, I live in South Carolina, USA. That's what the sentence says. But all you see is I, Carolina, USA. So you have to put a comma in there. The live in, you're trying to decide if it goes first. Well, wait, did she say South Carolina? Because I heard South Carolina. Is South on this page or not? You're evaluating that as well. And over time, that can be just as complex as the first one that I mentioned, which is kind of paraphrasing. So paraphrasing sentences can be a real challenge for scopists. And when they are writing the words, but they're not in the necessary order that the person said them, and or they're not typing the words at all, but they are typing some of them. They're not, I shouldn't say at all. They're not typing the whole sentence, but they're typing several words in the sentence while leaving out others. So my tip for today is, if you are a scopist that struggles with that your feedback is, you removed my notes, or you have this word here, but if you play the audio, it clearly says this instead of what you had. Or I had the right word, you removed it, put what you thought, and then put a check or a flag for the reporter, which is a huge pet peeve of theirs. That could be the reason why. So if you get that feedback, if you've ever gotten that feedback, try your best to identify why you perform that way. Now, it could be your skills. It could be that you're not as strong as you want to be as a scopist yet. It could be it could be several different reasons. But I find that when I can identify subconsciously what I'm experiencing, bring it to my conscious mind and put some specific vocabulary words to what I'm experiencing, I can then explain that to the reporter and let them know what I experienced. I will send an example. I'll send a screenshot. This is what I saw, but this is in fact what was said. And something like, I've done this 15 or 20 times on the same page. I'm noticing that it's slowing me down. I'm noticing that I need to reread. And that is adding time to either my personal estimate, how many pages I can scope in an hour. It's affecting me somehow. Bring what I do, and everyone has a different school of thought, but I bring the reporter into the process, because what happens is you're going to find yourself chasing your tail if, when they get the transcript back, they're complaining, and now you can't remember what you experienced or why you edited something the way that you did, or any host of reasons. And it's going to look like you are trying to make an excuse, or you're trying to get money out of the reporter and you didn't earn it because you didn't do your job correctly. I try my very best to never be in a situation where a reporter has to come to me and ask me why this problem occurred. I try to tell them up front what I'm experiencing, what I'm dealing with. If I don't tell them as I'm experiencing it, I definitely tell them in the notes section when I send the file back. Could be by text message. If I'm using Send This File or Dropbox, I will put a note or a comment to the file to let them know. And if they want to discuss further, contact me. Do they contact me most of the time? No, because they're really busy. But I have already put it out there. I've already stated what I experienced. I've already stated that it was a challenge and why that challenge is difficult for me in the job of trying to make the reporter look as good as I possibly can. And if something interferes with that, however minute it may seem, because a lot of times it just comes across as an irritation that you feel in your editing process. And you don't necessarily think about or try to pause and identify, okay, what is going on here? And why is this happening? And so I hope this video is helpful to at least give you a different perspective that you should have a category of or you should have a list of the types of mistakes that each client makes, what's unique to them, and how you deal with that challenge. And if that reporter is aware of that challenge or that particular thing. All reporters, all writers have different styles, different types of mistakes that they make. And for me as a scopist, the faster I can figure out what that is, the more confident I feel in the final transcript that I deliver. And it gets them as close to a perfect transcript as I feel I can deliver to them. So I hope that was helpful. You guys have a good afternoon. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions and if my explanation was unclear at all, or any disagreement you might have, and how you as a scopist handle the reporter's errors or drops, or if there's a different way that you feel that I could approach it that might get us a better result. Thanks for watching.